Welcome back, guys. I'm Chris Veach, and this is Evansville High School football. 100 years, millions of memories. Now, when it comes to tradition, Wrights Panthers football is arguably the gold standard in the River City. 10 mythical state titles, 2 Class 4A state titles, and the second winningest program in all of Indiana. When it comes to the best Wrights team, the 1961 team comes to mind for many. Why? Well, that was the year the Panthers finished not only undefeated, but unscored upon. Well, joining me is one of the players of that historic 1961 team, played center for the Panthers, and a former Wrights assistant coach himself, Richard Porky. Now, thank you so much for coming out here and joining us today. Let's first talk about that 1961 team. I mean, let me just throw out a couple of scores from that season. Final scores: Wrights 53, Crawfordsburg 0. Wrights 66, Muncie Central 0. Wrights 55, Boise 0. I mean, perfection is how you would describe it. Tell me, what was it like playing on a team like that?
Amazing. The history is phenomenal. You know, very few players ever played on a team like that particular team, and it's a good talk piece. When you go somewhere, people always want to ask, you know, like you're doing, you know, who did this, who did that, how'd you do this, how'd you do that? But it's a great program.
Well, to be looking through that schedule, not only were you guys shutting out teams, I mean, you pretty much were kind of dominating them too. Now, your second to last game of the season, it was against unbeaten Memorial. The local press dubbed that game the game of the century. Now, of course, Panthers, they went on to win 33-0. It was kind of lopsided, but just tell me about the build-up, the hype for that game.
Well, Memorial had some great players at that time, and the score did not really actually represent the game. It was very close at halftime. I think we was ahead 7-0 at halftime, and Memorial had a couple fumbles. We intercepted a couple passes at the very opportune times. So, you know, you look at the score and you go, well, they just dominated. Well, it wasn't really that kind of domination because it was a good game, close game. They were big, they fast. They had some players that were phenomenal. And we were very fortunate to win the game, actually.
Okay, well, now, even though the 1961 team, undefeated, unscored upon, I've actually heard some people say that the 1960 Wrights team might actually been more talented. Yeah, they were undefeated, mythical state title, but they did give up some points. So not as perfection, but would you agree, was that team maybe more talented?
Well, if you talk to the older coaching staff, they say that they thought the 60 team was better than the 61 team. They had more size, they had a lot of quickness, a lot of depth, and they played extremely rough football. They were players, but they had 9 points scored on them, and when you put 9 points against them, against a team that went undefeated and unscored on, you know, they kind of take back seat to, you know, to the publicity. But they were a great team.
Well, also, Coach Herman Byers is a legend, not just in Evansville high school football, the whole state of Indiana as well. You played for Coach Herman Byers. Just tell me, what was he like, not just as a coach, but as a person?
He wasn't real personable, really. But as a coach, he was very disciplined, very demanding. You either did it his way or it was a highway. And it's kind of obvious with the results that he got. He had like, for example, he was out practicing and getting ready for a game on Saturday or Friday. If we run a play and we messed it up, we run again. If it wasn't done exactly like he wanted it done, if you messed up a second time, you ran it again. There's times we ran plays 7, 8, 9, 10 times in a row, the same play, until we got it down exactly as he wanted it.
That sounds like the practices, they could be tough sometimes.
Yes.
Speaking of that, I've heard that Wrights players, they would actually run up those steps at practice at the bowl, and they would sometimes have players on their back. I mean, was that true?
Well, yes and no. I wasn't really mandated, but we started on the side. You know, a couple of us did that. So Coach Byers didn't say you have to carry somebody on their back. But his philosophy was, you got to go the extra mile. You got to do a little bit extra to be good. If you're not in good shape and good condition, you're going to lose games just on the conditioning.
So basically, the players just started doing it just to make it tougher,
right.
Trying to challenge themselves more.
Right.
That's Wright's football right there. Now, later on, you got into coaching. You were an assistant coach for quite a few years at Wright's. So tell me, how did you end up getting that job?
Well, at first I was a head wrestling coach, assistant football coach at Harrison for a while. Then I went back to teaching at the middle school, and a job opened up at Wright's with Gary Brunson, a freshman coach. So I left Harrison and went with Gary Brunson. I was assistant wrestling coach. And then after a couple of years, Gary retired or quit coaching, and then I was offered a freshman job and just bloomed out to that.
Right, and you were telling me you still go to Wright's games all the time. I personally think there's no better venue in high school football in this area than the Wright's Bowl. I mean, Wright's is just an amazing tradition. What is it about Wright's football that makes it just such an incredible tradition?
First of all, your history, the history of the program. Don Watson told me one time, he used to be head coach at Harrison, he said, when you come into the Wright's Bowl, you're 6 points underdog already before you step in the field. And I asked him why, and he said, when you step in there, he said, you got a stadium that can hold 10,000, the permanent stadium, and he said, generally, they're full, and you got blue and gray shirts all over the place. And he said, it's just so massive. And he said, these players go in there, and they're in awe of it. And he said, you got to talk them down a little bit and say, hey, we can win this game. So yeah, they kind of in all with it, and they already questioned it when they came in the games.
I will say, if you love high school football, you live in the Evansville area, you have to go catch at least one Wright's football game at the Bowl. In fact, I don't think you've lived unless you've gone to a Wright's modern day game. Definitely the best, wouldn't you say,
yeah, because
awesome rivalry.
You throw all the records out the window of Wright's and modern day. They're both great programs. When they play, there have been times that Wright's beat modern day, shouldn't beat them. And it was just on a fluke play. Intercepted pass, a fumble, and up to that point in time, it was all modern day. But of course, Wright's still in the ball game up to that point in time. And then a couple of years ago, I remember Wright's beat modern day and shouldn't beat them. And of course, modern day came back next year and kind of put it to us. But they're good. They got great programs, and if you like to see good football, that's what you want to watch.
Well, that's a true rivalry. It doesn't matter who's the favorite. It's a rivalry game.
Throw it out.
Throw it out. Just throw the records out. Well, Richard Porky Knott, thank you so much for coming in. I could sit here and talk to you for hours about Wright's football, but unfortunately we are a little short on time. It's been such a pleasure speaking with you today.
Well, I appreciate you having me.
Thank you so much for coming out.
Thank you.
Well, be sure to continue to follow us on TriStateHomepage.com as we celebrate Evansville High School football. 100 years, millions of memories. I'm Chris Veach. We'll see you on the next drive.